Alright boys, what's happening? Welcome back to another episode of the F1 2021 My Team series here on the channel. Today is New Year's Eve boys, so hopefully you all have a good night tonight going into the new year. And if you are watching this in the new year, welcome to 2022. Hopefully it's a good year for everyone involved. But yeah man, today we do have a very special episode boys. It is the first episode using wheel and pedals. We have finally ditched the Xbox controller. As you can see at the top of the screen, we have paddles to control the menus now. We do have a wheel and pedal setup. For anyone interested, I will leave the setup in the description below, so you can check out the wheelbase and the pedals that I'm using. But it is our first race using wheel and pedal boys. I was practicing for a good week before going into this recording session, because I do record races back to back. So we do have the next 3 races recorded on wheel and pedals, so I had to practice in the week before I went into the recording session. You know, it is actually very hard boys. It is very hard compared to controller, taking a bit of getting used to. We have a message here off Max saying New Year regulations. There's going to be some regulations for next season. Also, retirement announcement. Valtteri Bottas is going to retire from the sport at the end of the season. That is absolutely massive. That means next season Mercedes is going to have an open seat. They can pretty much get whoever they want in that seat. It's going to mess up the grid order. Also, with the regulation changes, it's going to mess up the team order in terms of the vehicle comparison chart. So it's going to be really interesting boys to get into season 4 of the My Team series, as if season 3 hasn't been good enough already. Next year is going to be mad. Make sure you stay tuned for season 4 on the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit like on this video. Can we try and get 10 likes with it being our first race on wheel and pedals as we come through the parabolica there? A bit shaky, and set a banker lap of a 120 flat. That's only good enough for P3. At the moment 1.1 seconds slower than Carlos Sainz, who is now P2 because Lewis Hamilton has took that provisional pole spot. Well, it's not even provisional pole, it's Q1. But boys, coming through turn 1 and 2, that is how you do it. That was perfect, so smooth through turn 1 and 2, but up 8.5 tenths just through turn 1 and 2 there as we head now into the next chicane. I absolutely love this track, by the way boys. I absolutely love driving at Monza. Into the next chicane, getting on the throttle on the way out using the exit curve. We go purple in sector 1. That's the fastest sector 1 out of anyone in the qualifying session so far. Through Lesmo 1, a bit slow through there, and into Lesmo 2, missing the apex just ever so slightly as we go down the hill now. Hit the DRS zone. We are actually up in the delta by a second now, so obviously that first lap was not good. We must have messed up somewhere. Braking just after the 100 meter board. A bit of understeer through the first turn in, what's it called? What is that called, bro? The Ascari chicane right there. Yeah, a bit of understeer through the start of it, but we managed to get a good exit heading to the parabolica. 1 second up in the delta, or 1 second down. Is that the correct terminology? I don't even know, bro. But we come through the parabolica quite nicely there, and heading towards the line. Take the shortest run to the line. It's going to be 1.2 seconds, and that's going to 1.2 seconds faster than our previous lap. That gives us a 118.8. Puts us ahead of Bottas, ahead of Sainz, and just behind Lewis Hamilton, and that's where we stay. Michael Schumacher though, down in P9 at 119.5. That is so slow. We've just set a 118.8, and Michael's done a 119.5. That is so slow. I don't know what's happened to Michael on his lap there or in the whole session, but he's 1.2 seconds off the pace. Getting into Q2 though, you can see we've advanced halfway through the session, and we are out on the medium tyres. We haven't set a lap yet, so our first lap here is going to be our best one as well in the Q2 session. On the medium tyres, little bit of a wobble through turn 2 there, but we managed to keep it nice and steady as we head round now. One smooth steering input. That corner right there feels so cool on a wheel, by the way boys. But into the next chicane, can we get a good exit? Bouncing over the curb, not taking too much, because that curb, or both curbs on that chicane there, are an absolute killer. If you manage to go over them with your car, definitely going to pick up some damage if you bounce over them and completely miss the racing line for the next corner. But down the hill now, we activated the DRS a little bit slow, probably cost us a few thousands, but it doesn't matter. Down the hill, it actually doesn't look like that good of a lap so far boys. But into the Ascari chicane, we've nailed the first apex there, through the second and third, and we are out. That is a very nice take through the Ascari chicane there. We've just absolutely nailed the entry to that, which set us up perfectly for the other 2 turns in that section. Into the parabolica now, bit of understeer again as we go wide, as you can see, over the white line there, but we managed to stay on the track before we go too wide. down into the finish line, and it's going to be P2 at the moment, boys. A 119.5. P2 ahead of Verstappen and Bottas, who are also on medium tyres, ahead of Leclerc on soft tyres, and Lewis Hamilton on provisional pole. Well, P1 in Q2. Lewis Hamilton, as you can see there, 0.3 quicker. Now, we advanced towards the end of the session. You might have just seen us drop a little bit there. We managed to make it through, boys, but it's only P9. Everyone else went again on the soft tyres. So all those people trying to qualify on the mediums sacked it off and went to soft. So we're going to be the only one starting on the medium tyres. Carlos Sainz, the last man there in the top 10, avoiding the drop. Michael Schumacher finding a bit more pace, going P3. 2 McLarens in P1 and P2 at the end of Q2 there, though. Daniel Ricciardo picking up some pace, and Lando Norris 0.2 ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. Very bizarre finish order in Q2 there. Getting to Q3, though, you see we've set a banker lap for 118.8, and it's not good enough because it's only P10, which is, of course, dead last in the qualifying session for Q3. There's only 3 minutes left in the session. Down into the first chicane, braking about 110 metres, 105 metres you want to be braking for turn 1 and 2 as we come out 0.3 quicker than our first lap. That is how you do it. It really just sets you up for a nice lap if you nail turn 1 and turn 2. I find at Monza, because then you get the momentum to just keep going forward and nailing the rest of the lap into the next chicane, using a lot of the curb on the exit to get the most speed. We do actually lose a bit of time through there, though. Through Lesmo 1 and 2, touching the inside curve, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Very risky to do that. You can easily drop your car and spin through Lesmo 1 if you touch that inside curve, which we did there, but managed to keep it neat through the 2 Lesmos, 0.4 up into the Ascari chicane, braking about 75 metres, nailing the entry yet again. And that just sets you up perfectly, bro. And you can see the delta just absolutely fly up because we have nailed that. And we're now 0.8 up, and it just keeps going up. Look how fast the delta in the top right is going up. It steadies out around 0.9, and then into the parabolica, getting on the power as early as possible, taking the shortest run to the line. It is going to be 0.9 quicker. Can we make it to a second before we cross the line? No, we can't. But that's a purple sector 3. It's going to be the fastest lap of the session, boys. A 117.9, the first 117 we've seen in the 3 qualifying sessions so far. And as it stands, boys, it's provisional pole. We're going to go again now for another lap, try and improve, because through turn 1 and turn 2 we're already nearly 0.2 up on that previous lap. That's put us on provisional pole here in Monza. 2 minutes left in the session. A few more people coming out of the pits now to go again. We go purple through sector 1 now. We are 0.2 up on our previous lap, which of course is the provisional pole lap. Can we set an even better lap and try and secure our first pole position ever, boys? Our first ever pole position through Lesmo 2 now. Kicking up a bit of gravel on the exit, and we've spun and we managed to keep it out of the wall before our tyre crunches beneath us, but the front wing is gone. That is going to be the lap over. That is going to be the session over. But boys, it is pole position in Monza. Michael Schumacher, absolute stinker of a qualifying session, down in P6, but we don't care, boys. We've got pole position in Monza. What a lap that was from us. 0.2 quicker than Sergio Perez in P2. Max Verstappen down in P8. What a stinky qualifying session for Max Verstappen as well. Verstappen, Schumacher, the 2 top drivers in the championship at the minute. Stinky qualifying session. Let's see if they can improve in the race.
That has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations, and it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. It's the owner driver in pole position then. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Norris, Bottas, Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher, Leclerc, Verstappen, Ricciardo and Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, George Russell and Tsunoda, Vettel, Stroll, Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi, Giovinazzi, Tigtum, Mazepin and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot today. And now it's time to head down to the track.
This is our engine supplier's home Grand Prix. Let's give them a race worth watching.
Something I completely forgot about, boys. It's our engine supplier, Ferrari. It's their home race in Monza, in Italy, of course. We do have this this Ferrari power unit, that we've been running for the last 2 seasons. Hopefully we can make it a good race for our Ferrari spectators in Italy. We've already put it on pole position. Can we stay in P1 at the end of the first lap? It is lights out and away we go. Never mind the first lap. Can we stay P1 at the end of the last lap? No, we can't. We can't even stay ahead in P1 into turn 1, because there goes Sergio Perez up the inside. We managed to send it around the outside though, through turn 1 and turn 2. Looking like we carried a lot of speed through there. We are back up into the lead. Valtteri Bottas up into P2. Now Sergio Perez though pushing really hard to try and get that P1 spot that he's just took from us off the start. Obviously we started on the slower medium tyres compared to everyone else around us. We're the only car in the top 10 on medium tyres, so that obviously affected our start there. Sergio Perez off to a great start. Verstappen and Schumacher off to flying start as well. Verstappen up from P8 was it into P5. Schumacher up from P6 I think into P4. Great start from those there. There's a replay of the start. You can see just how far ahead Perez was, but he has the inside line to turn 1. Actually bounces over the curve. We gave him a lot of space, but we managed to squeeze his line on the exits, which allows us to stay ahead, because the outside line through turn 2 is far superior than the inside. You'll see that later on in the race as well. But coming towards the end of lap 1 now, we do stay in P1, but we're going to have a long run down into P2. What am I talking about, bro? We're going to have a long run down into turn 1 on lap 2, which is going to allow all of these cars behind us to get a slipstream. There goes Michael Schumacher, Bottas and Perez 3 wide down into turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? 3 wide into turn 1. Is there going to be enough space? Schumacher over the curb. Bottas looks like he's ahead. Schumacher around the outside. Superior line, like I've just said, in turn 2. Michael Schumacher, what a move up into P2. That's a great overtake right there. He's just done a double overtake on Checo Perez and Valtteri Bottas up into P2. It's a Sasuke Racing P1 and P2 at the moment. We've never seen a P1 and P2 podium at the team in 3 seasons, boys. It's never been the case. Me and Nico Rosberg in season 2 nearly had it, if you do remember, but I don't even want to mention that race and jinx anything that could happen. Obviously, if you don't remember, if you haven't seen season 2 in Monza, great race, go back and watch that one. But Nico Rosberg, I think he was on course to win the race and we were in P2, and he actually dropped his car through the Ascari chicane, which we've managed to get through there. Michael Schumacher in one piece, but yeah, that was just absolutely crazy, boys. If you remember in season 2 in Monza, we was actually like right behind Nico on the track, so we had like a front row seat to that spin when he went off into the wall. But Michael currently has the fastest lap of the race as well. He's on a charge at the minute. We might have to play some team orders and let him pass, but obviously I said this last time out, boys, I'm not going to play this team order game anymore if I'm going to try and win a race. We do have a terrible Ascari chicane there, completely understeer through the first section of it, trying to block off Michael Schumacher on a defensive move there. And as you can see, it might have cost Michael a little bit of time there, because Bottas now trying to attack, Perez trying to attack. It's lap 3, so DRS is going to be active as we head down the main straight now. But yeah, early on in the season, boys, I knew Michael was a lot faster than me, so I used to just let him pass. But this time round, boys, I'm fighting for a race win. You know, I'm in P1. Probably could have played team orders here. He's on softer tyres. Could have let him go into the distance and try and get him back on strategy later on. But we decided to just try and defend against our teammate there. And it might have cost us. We'll have to wait and see at the end of the race whether we should have just let Michael Schumacher past us there, or if it was the right move to try and defend against our teammates. Perez, Bottas and Schumacher 3 wide again, this time through the Parabolica at the end of lap 2 there. Max Verstappen on a charge to try and make up some places, and they're going 4 wide, boys, into turn 1 here. Look how crazy that looks in behind us. 4 wide into turn 1. Nobody's going to be close enough to try and send one on us though. Coming through turn 2 there, Perez round the outside of Schumacher through turn 2. Like I mentioned, boys, round the outside in turn 2 is the superior line. There just seems to be a lot more traction out there. I don't know what it is, but Perez and Schumacher now fighting wheel to wheel as we head into the next chicane. Schumacher actually has the inside line, the better line for that chicane, but he gives up, and Perez up into P2. Nice move from Sergio Perez. It looked like Michael didn't really put up much of a fight there. It was just a great bit of driving from Perez. Would have expected better driving from the 7-time world champion Michael Schumacher, though I can't lie to you. But obviously he does lose that place to Sergio Perez. He's going to have DRS again down this straight here. I don't know why he wasn't using his battery there. You could see on his steering wheel that he didn't have his battery active. He probably could have made a pass on Perez there if he had his battery, if he was using some battery charge, you know, but he decided against it. And obviously across the line, Michael down into P3. He's still up from P6 on the grid, so it's a good start to the race for Michael Schumacher. You can see us just off in the distance there. We are currently 1.7 seconds faster than, or far ahead, 1.7 seconds ahead. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, of Sergio Perez. But again, through turn 2, outside line, Perez stays ahead of Michael for yet another lap. The gap now 1.7. Perez has brought the gap down to us to 1.1 seconds. But it's going to be another carbon copy moment down into turn 1. Schumacher looks like he's ahead into turn 1, but then round the outside goes Sergio Perez through turn 2. And just look how much faster that is, boys, round the outside in turn 2. But Perez and Schumacher fighting all of these laps is really helping us, because obviously they're the two cars behind us and they're fighting each other, losing a lot of time as we can just race ahead now. You can see us on lap 6, 1.7 or 1.56 seconds ahead of Sergio Perez, setting a purple sector 1 as well on the medium tyres here. Bit of understeer through Lesmo 1, but yeah, we managed to stay ahead. The gap now on lap 10 is below a second. Sergio Perez has caught up to us on these soft tyres, the softer compound of course compared to us, and he's within DRS range of us now. Not what we like to see, but I know in the back of my mind those soft tyres should be dropping off soon and people should be coming into the pits. Michael Schumacher though, he was battling with Max Verstappen, then never mind Sergio Perez in the Red Bull. He was battling with the other Red Bull of Max Verstappen, who has dropped off into the pits, and as you can see on lap 11 here, Perez just behind us in DRS range. I'm not sure if Michael does have DRS on Perez. I think he might, but he's still a little bit far behind, and if he couldn't even make a pass on him when he was right next to him, then he's not going to make a pass on him when he's 1.2 seconds behind or whatever he is. So you can see we're going red in sector 1, red in sector 2. His tyres are starting to slide off, and I'm like, how is Perez lapping faster than us when he's on the softer compound of tyres? So theoretically our tyres should be going for a lot more laps than his should. You know, we shouldn't be seeing this drop off like this. He should be seeing a much more aggressive drop off on those soft tyres. But now Perez into the pits, that is massive. Lap 12 of 27, Perez off into the pits. Our pit window is lap 16 I believe, but also Michael Schumacher into the pits behind Sergio Perez. Perez into the Red Bull pit box there. Let's see, can they have a quick stop? It looks quite slow, and Perez is slow to be released. He's been held up by the McLaren there. That is absolutely huge for Michael Schumacher if we can have a good pit stop from the team, and it is. Michael Schumacher's out, and he's ahead of Sergio Perez, boys. What a move that is from the boys at the Sasuke Racing pit crew. They have managed to get Michael Schumacher out ahead of Sergio Perez, and he's overtaken him in the pit lane as they come out on the medium tyres. Michael now in a net P2 because of course George Russell, Tsunoda and Sainz have not pit yet. So you can see now there he is in P2 on lap 13 of 27. Can he stay ahead? Can he stay in P2? Michael Schumacher, it's his first lap after being in the pits, I do believe, because he did box on lap 12. So you can see here lap 13 he's using his battery down the straight now because he's going to have to try and defend from Sergio Perez. He's going to have his DRS open, that rear wing open, and he passes him on the straight before they even get down into turn 1, boys. I don't know where the straight line speed of that Red Bull came from, but maybe it was just the power of battery, DRS and slipstream. But Michael Schumacher can't even stay in P2 for one lap. He gets overtaken by Perez on the straight before he even gets down into turn 1. Not much he could have done there. But again, those two battling a little bit. Lap 14 of 27 now. Charles Leclerc out of the session. The Ferrari boy, the home race for his team Ferrari. And just like in 2020, he's going to be out of the race. But obviously not in the fashion that he went out of the race in 2020 when he had that massive crash at the Parabolica, which was just very, very scary to see if you was watching that live. It looked like a massive crash. Lap 15 of 27 on. We're going to overtake, or we're going to lap, I should say, Nikita Mazepin in the Haas there, and also Dan Tickton is the next man on the radar. I think we might pick up DRS from Dan Tickton, and we actually do, so that's massive. Took into the slipstream a little, pick up DRS and lap, of course, what's his name, Dan Tickton. That is absolutely huge for us to start this lap here, because this is the lap that we are going to box. Looks very slow through turn 1 and turn 2 there. We do miss the first apex a little, but this is our you know, the lap that we need to push as hard as we can on these tyres, drain every last bit of grip from these tyres, because they're coming off at the end of the lap anyway, so it doesn't even matter. We don't need to try and conserve anything. So the gap behind to Perez is 22 seconds. Michael Schumacher's actually overtook him for a brief second there. Them two obviously neck and neck all the time, battling through this race. The gap is 22 seconds, so I'm not too sure how much time we are going to lose in the pit stop, but by the time we get to the pits, the gap behind is 23 seconds. We have a 2.3 second pit stop from the pit crew there. Very solid time indeed. And now on our way out of the pit lane, here comes Perez and Schumacher. Are we going to stay ahead? I can see them in the rear view mirror. They're going to be flying down this straight now into turn 1. But we come out of the pits 1.5 seconds ahead of Perez and Schumacher still. That is absolutely huge. If they weren't battling each other, Perez or Schumacher, whoever was in P2, probably would have overtaken me in the pits there. But we do have those brand new, they're not brand new actually, we used them in qualifying for 1 lap, so they're going to be 1 lap old, or 2 laps, or technically 3, if you count the out lap, the push lap, and then the in lap. But there goes Michael Schumacher up the inside this time into turn 1 on Sergio Perez. He's going to have the outside line through turn 2. He's finally learned his lesson. Michael Schumacher up into P2. He's learned his lesson after all of those laps. And as you can see, Michael Schumacher on the medium tyres. Behind is Sergio Perez on the medium tyres. And behind him, very close behind him, is Max Verstappen on the hard tyres. But again, down into turn 1. Perez and Schumacher still battling it out behind us. And I think we might get a little glimpse in the rear view in a moment. We don't, but Perez overtakes well, here's the overtake actually, here's the replay of the overtake. Perez overtakes Schumacher again, just with straight line speed. It's not even in the braking zone. He just passes him before they get to turn 2, and there's nothing Michael can do about it. Not very good defensive driving, but it is what it is, you know. We've still got 9 laps left in this race. Anything could happen between these two. Anything could happen with all 20 drivers on the grid, of course. But boys, we are currently 1.8 seconds ahead, and now at the end of the lap, 2.3 seconds ahead as we set the fastest lap of the race. Even with a red sector 1, we set the fastest lap of the race. A purple sector 2, green sector 3, and we are 2.4 ahead of Perez. These new soft tyres, of course, that we did just box for. I love doing that, by the way. Like, you'll see it in a lot of my strategies. It's starting on the harder compounded tyre, then switching to the softs later on in the race. Once we've burned off a lot of fuel, you know, and the track is all rubbered in and stuff, because obviously everyone's racing. The track, what's it called? Track evolution has taken place. I just love switching to softer tyres later on in the race. It feels so fast compared to just having them at the start, you know. And if we're trying to chase someone down, which of course at the moment the only person we're chasing is ourselves, but yeah, I just love to do that. That is a little strategy thing that you'll notice in pretty much all of my races. But we go purple through sector 1 there after just setting the fastest lap of the race with a 120.1, and we are currently 1.5 tenths quicker than that lap as we go green in sector 2. Nice take through the Ascari chicane there, increasing the gap to Perez to 3.3 seconds now. So any chance of Perez getting in DRS or anything like that, we're trying to completely ruin his chances of doing that. Of course, he is on the harder compounds. We will go for longer. Our tyres should drop off, but as we've seen from the first stint, Perez's softs didn't really seem to drop off that much compared to our mediums, so it seems to be pretty even in terms of tyre wear. There goes the fastest lap of the race down. Lap 20, we are approaching back markers again. Let's see who it is. It's Mazepin and Tickton. We've already overtaken these guys, but we're going to do it again. Mazepin pulled to the side, Dan Tickton pulls to the left. We're going to create a hash sandwich as we go to the middle. Dan Tickton, what are you doing? This guy is an absolute lunatic. What has he just done there, boys? Mazepin pulled to the right, Tickton pulled to the left. I've gone to go through the middle of the hash sandwich, and Dan Tickton, this absolute loon. If you know about Dan Tickton, well, if you don't know about Dan Tickton, then you must be new around here, boys, and you clearly didn't watch season 1. Dan Tickton is an absolute lunatic. Speaking of lunatics, we're about to overtake Latifi. No problems with him. But yeah, boys, if you know about Dan Tickton, then you've clearly watched season 1 of the race, season 1 of the series on YouTube. Yeah, the guy's a loon, and again, what is he doing there? He's just almost causing a massive crash. And I would have been fuming if we were about to win a race and Dan Tickton took the win away from us, even though he's not even our teammate anymore. He's with Haas, but that would be absolutely hilarious. But there's the other Alfa Romeo, Giovinazzi, getting out the way, Italian Jesus, in his hometown, in his home country, in Italy, for the Italian Grand Prix in Monza. But boys, on lap 27 of the race, we are 10.5 seconds ahead of Sergio Perez. It's lap 27 of 27, final lap of the race, 10 seconds ahead of the person in P2. All we have to do is keep the car out of the wall, and we will win a race, boys. We will get our second race win of the season as we come around the parabolic now, taking it nice and easy. We don't need to step on the throttle too early and risk spinning into the wall like Charles Leclerc. We're going to cross the line, boys.
Inshallah.
Absolutely fantastic. It's a brilliant result. Well done.
What a win that was, boys. Get in there. Another race win. Second race win of the season. Only a fifth race win in 2 seasons, I believe. If that's the correct maths, I want to say. In fact, that might be our 6th race win in 3 seasons. Yeah, I think that's our 6th win of a race. I might have just completely made that up. We had 1 in season 1, 3 in season 2, and we won in Austria this year, and then there's another race win. So yeah, good maths. Our 6th win of our career. What a place to do it. In Monza, the home race for our engine supplier. Let's see the rest of that podium. It was, of course, Perez in P2, Schumacher P3. Disappointing that we couldn't get Schumacher stood next to us on the other side of that podium in P2. I would have loved a 1-2, especially here in Monza. But what a win that was in Monza. A great lap in qualifying. Probably the first ever time I can say that, because my qualifying performance, if you've watched this series so far from season 1, I'm always terrible in qualifying. Great qualifying performance from us, slapping on pole. It was actually a perfect win. Pole position, winning a race, and we got the fastest lap point. So we pick up 26 points there. Michael getting 15 points, of course, up from P6 to finish P3. Max Verstappen up from P8 to finish P4. Great racing from the 2 championship contenders there. I say that because I think the championship is out of the reach for us at the moment. We'll check the standings in a moment though. Look at the race pace of the Mercedes there, from P4 and P5 on the grid to finish P8 and P9. Stinky. But yeah, you can see there we're 72 points away from P1 in the driver's standings. Michael closes the gap though to 15 points, with Max Verstappen finishing behind him in this race, with 3 points behind Bottas in P4 in the drivers. But with that 1-3 on the podium there, boys, we overtake Red Bull by 8 points in the constructors standings. The constructors is where the money's at, so hopefully we can win the constructors even if we don't manage to win the drivers. Would be absolutely massive. Next up is the Russian Grand Prix, one of my favourite circuits to drive because it's so simple. Yeah, it's such a simple track. There's no like elevation changes really, apart from right at the end, but it doesn't really, you don't really notice it. It's such a fun track to drive. It reminds me of like a go-kart track in a sense, because it's just such like a simple, straightforward track. It's just raw driving, proper street circuit, and yeah, but that's the next track. Russia, next time out, I think this will be on, what day is it today, bro? It is Friday today. You'll see this episode on Monday. Hopefully you have enjoyed this one. It will be another race on the Wheel and Pedals. If you have enjoyed the gameplay on Wheel and Pedals, let me know by smashing like on this video and subscribing to the channel if you are new around here. But I will catch you next time, boys. Take it easy.